This channel is all about real stories of courage. Subscribe so you never miss one. On a cold morning in the Pacific, the hum of a commercial airliner carried hundreds of travelers across a pale blue sky. Among them, she slept in seat 8A, a passenger indistinguishable from the rest, until destiny stirred. Her name was Lieutenant Mara Hayes, a decorated combat pilot whose name was whispered only in the corridors of classified air bases. She had flown countless sorties in the shadows of global conflict, her precision unmatched, her courage unquestioned. But here, in a plane full of civilians, her uniform replaced by a simple jacket, she was invisible.
The antagonist, by contrast, was impossible to miss. Captain Richard Branson, a man who had built a reputation on authority and intimidation. He ruled the cockpit and the cabin with rigid formality, treating the crew and passengers alike as if their only purpose was to obey. Arrogance radiated from him, palpable even from 20 rows away. The conflict began subtly. A sudden alert on the cockpit screen, a warning that demanded immediate action. The captain's voice cut through the cabin's low murmur. "Is there anyone on board trained for combat situations?" A question that seemed rhetorical, until it was not. Mara's eyes snapped open. Calm, precise, her movements fluid with the confidence of one who had lived in split-second decisions. She unbuckled her seatbelt and strode toward the cockpit with the poise of a predator unseen until the final moment. The cabin fell silent. Branson's eyes widened as he realized the weight of her presence, the unspoken history in her gaze. Without hesitation, Mara assessed the situation, flipped switches, and recalibrated the flight systems with a speed that defied comprehension. A sharp crack echoed. Not a gun, not a shout, but the subtle, almost imperceptible sound of authority fractured. Alarms silenced, controls stabilized, the crisis diffused before it fully manifested. The passengers, still unaware of the near disaster, remained frozen in awe. Branson, frozen in disbelief, understood instantly. The quiet pilot in 8A had just outmaneuvered him in a battle he never saw coming.
The cabin remained still for a heartbeat longer than was comfortable. Then, murmurs of realization spread like ripples in water. Crew members exchanged glances, eyes wide, fingers trembling over radios and instruments. The hum of the engines returned to normal, yet the tension lingered like a shadow. Branson leaned back, rigid, his pride bruised in a way no cockpit maneuver could repair. His voice, usually sharp and commanding, softened as he spoke to Mara. "I didn't expect anyone on board to handle that." His words hung in the air, incomplete, stripped of the arrogance he had worn like armor. Mara's response was simple, almost serene. Skill isn't about ego, it's about preparation and respect for what you face. No further explanation was needed. The crew members, once deferential, now regarded her with quiet reverence. Even the passengers, oblivious to the precise nature of the threat, sensed the gravity of what had just unfolded. Later, in a private debrief with a senior airline official, Branson confessed what had occurred, his voice tinged with humility. "I mistook authority for competence. She reminded me that true skill often moves silently, unseen until the moment it matters most." The moral was undeniable. Arrogance is brittle, and respect earned through mastery outweighs any title or rank. Bravery does not announce itself with noise or spectacle. It reveals itself in the decisive instant when lives and reputations hang in balance. Mara Hayes, the quiet, unseen veteran, had proven that virtue and skill always prevail over bluster and assumption. Weeks later, The story spread quietly through the aviation community, growing in the telling. Pilots recounted the incident with awe, the tale transformed into a legend whispered in hangars and crew lounges. Mara's actions became a benchmark, a parable of quiet mastery and moral courage in the face of arrogance. For young pilots, her story became a touchstone, a lesson in humility, preparation, and poise under pressure. For authority figures, it was a stark reminder that respect is earned, not demanded. Mara herself remained understated, never seeking recognition, content to have preserved lives and dignity in silence. When asked by a fellow veteran what drove her so calmly into the cockpit that day, she replied, "Courage isn't loud. It doesn't need applause. It's the quiet certainty that when the moment comes, you will act, and act rightly." Her words, short and measured, spread far beyond that morning flight. They became a mantra, a reminder that true power lies in skill tempered by virtue, in humility coupled with readiness, and in courage that does not seek attention but demands respect. And so the legend of 8A endured, a story not of spectacle, but of quiet mastery of skill, outlasting arrogance, and of virtue triumphing over presumption.